I'm Silvana Castellucchio. I am an art therapist. I am part of the EFAT, European Federation of Art Therapy. And I started my journey in art therapy driven by the interest in using creativity and the possibilities of creativity in the therapeutic process. I got in touch with the ArtAICare project as I am part of the research committee of EFAT, and we were contacted directly by Bereket as a project leader of this project. So we had a very first conversation and I decided to jump into this project.
I'm Charlotte Coles. I'm a child and adolescent psychologist. I'm not a part of IFAT, although I would like to be. I aim to be an art therapist in the future. I found out about this study because Bereket got in touch with me, and we had our first Zoom call, and just his passion was it was intoxicating. So yeah, I decided to take part, and I have not regretted it for a moment.
So after participating into the studies and as an observer, I was impressed by some key elements that derive from the visual exposition of the participants. The very most touching element was the memories that those experience is able to enable into the participants. Mm-hmm. Many of them remember elements, experiences, feelings deriving from their childhood, their youthness, or they remember other sensorial aspects linked to their memory. So I'm wondering how this research could bring into the research about memories, image exposure, and the possibility to use those aspects as therapeutic elements able to create a new narration of their previous experiences from a therapeutic point of view.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that as well. So I think that it could really speed up the process for therapists in trying to find something that really resonates with the patients. And I think the VR in particular is a very new thing that is introduced into therapy, and it's more seen as something for gaming or something, but it really helps to make the experience immersive. And so they're kind of more able to leave their surroundings and actually focus on what they're doing rather than just sitting there in a room where they are used to, and they are used to kind of exploring all of their issues and stuff. It kind of allows them into a new setting where their sole focus is the paintings and their experience in the moment. And I think that allows for a lot more exploration than previously. It kind of opens up new doors.
I totally agree with you, in particular about virtual immersive experiences, because participants often told us that they were able to enter a new environment quickly, very quickly. They have been impressed by how fast it was the process, and they were able to enter immediately in a different situation that was completely different from the everyday life one. One of them, I remember, told us it was magnificent. It was a possibility you gave me to completely shift from the everyday life concern and move into what I really like, I really resonate with. That is the nature, mm-hmm. the woods, the possibility to walk into there, to breathe fresh air. So I agree with you. This process for sure can speed up the process in reaching some point, some turning points in the therapeutic process. It doesn't mean that it is the only answer we can give to the patient, but for the therapist could be a tool that empower us into the process.
Yeah. And there were some participants who also were disappointed that there weren't more paintings. They kind of got to the end and they were like, is that it? I was really enjoying this. It was really helping me to feel a bit better. And
yes,
that's just from a study. So think about how much it could affect the actual therapeutic process.
And even the most skeptical at the very beginning, I would to say that at the end, they confirmed that they had at least a positive experience. It might not be enhancing something specific, but at least it was something calm and relaxing. So it means that the painting resonates with their needs.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And then including AI in that to help choose paintings that are particularly relevant for that particular person, because not only does it speed up the process for the therapist, which means that we don't have to spend hours going through paintings and thinking, okay, so how might this resonate with this particular person? But also it means that it's going to come up with options that we didn't even consider, and that may speak to that person in a completely different way than what we're expecting. And I think that's just a really interesting and important development in therapy.
In real time and moment with the participant is something that at the very beginning I wouldn't have considered possible, because the project at the very beginning might be scary from some point of view and saying, oh, you are putting it a distance between therapist and client because of the AI. Instead, no, it is different. And I've experienced this here, being there during the user studies, being there, hearing their feedback, seeing their body language after the session and so on. So I have to say that I can confirm that it is possible to integrate AI and the therapist. And of course, the therapist will be the leader of the process, of the therapeutic process. But he or she can be supported by technology.
Yeah. And before I came to the study, I thought that using AI in therapy was counterproductive. And I knew of young people who use AI as therapists. And that was really concerning for me. And reading all of these articles and stuff about the negative effects of it, as well as the positive effects, but still worrying that, you know, a lot of these people are very influenceable. And, you know, they really need someone to be overseeing it. And then in the study with the participants, like speaking to them beforehand, and then speaking to them again afterwards and seeing or hearing their responses, and then afterwards them saying, so you saw what I responded to this painting? And I was like, yeah. And then they would go a lot deeper into that and about the experiences that they had. So I think that's really important, that even though AI kind of it helps the process and it speeds up the process and it facilitates it, the human aspect needs to be there so that they feel more able to open up and they feel more supported.
Yeah. Okay. After testing the dashboard that is included in the platform, ArtAICare platform, and I would say that the data that the therapist is collecting through the system are very useful, because they are, as you said before, explained in a very clear way. So the therapist is able to see those medical elements and combine them to what he or she is already seeing into the therapeutic relationship and process. And I was surprised how sometimes the biomedical data, they said and told us something more compared to what was the self-perception of the patient, the participant. Because, for example, some elements arise the awareness that the positive feeling shown by the patient, in reality, they were quite different perceived from the body itself. So these elements allowed us to talk much more in details the relationship between body and thinking, because they allowed us as a therapist to find out when this balancing might be missing, or support us in giving a mark point that says, pay attention, something different compared to what is shown is happening inside. So, of course, only the physiological data could provide and sustain this. So the platform allows us, again, new tools. And we as a therapist should not be scared off about this, because if we consider them as tools, as a part of our job, so I think those elements might be very useful during our process.
It sounds like they would be. Absolutely loved being part of the ArtAICare team, and really from the first day it felt like I was part of the team, and that's not an experience you get frequently. But Bereket's passion is it's a huge part of this. You can see, like, with every single participant, how much it means to him to understand from their perspective how it helped them and how it can be improved as well, and how it can influence the future of therapy. And his goals for the future are incredible. With Silvana, he's incredibly funny. He's a really, really nice person, and he's really good at these tech things. And it's very funny watching him interact with the different people. He's just a joy to be around. And also Parvin, I don't know if you've got the chance to work with her.
Yes.
Yeah. She's so nice. And she isn't as experienced as Silvana in all of the tech and gadgets and stuff, but she's so proactive in trying to learn all of this. And, it's just been a really nice experience getting to know everyone and learning about all of this. And I do not come from a tech background at all. I don't understand what they're talking about most of the time. I had no idea what FNIs were. I thought an EEG was something you could only have at hospital. So they've explained everything to me in a really simple way that's actually made it possible for me to understand. Silvana explained, like, with the FNIs, how it changes depending on, like, the color changes, and how that's like a leaf blowing in the wind. And, like, when you're more worked up, then it's going to be higher, so it's going to be more red. And then as you kind of calm down, it kind of floats closer to the ground. And then that's kind of going to show more blue because you're more relaxed. And so that was just, it was really nice to actually have them explain things in a way that I could understand. And it really helped me to feel part of the team.
I absolutely agree with you. I had the same experience. I felt very, very, very welcome by all the team. I absolutely confirm what you said. And I would like to add that I jumped into this process almost 2 years ago when EFAT was contacted by Bereket, and I had the same feeling, not as a participant in the user study, but as a professional, because I've been involved by Bereket and by his team like a professionist, and they were willing to know what I think about this, how could we change one point there? The team was very open to change their way of thinking, the way of seeing things according to my perspective, the perspective of the art therapist. And you are right, it's not so common.
No.
Because you are trusted as a professionist. And this is very important because it means that the path of this project is drawn in a very clear way and intellectual, honest way.
Yeah, they're really open to changing and adapting to what the therapist needs, what the participants need, and to try to always improve, rather than stick to their original idea, their original plan, and be like, okay, this is what we intended, this is how we're going to do it, which a lot of startups and and tech companies, they're like, okay, this is it, not going outside this box. But with ArtAICare, it's completely different. They're constantly evolving and trying to think of new ways that they can help. And I think that's just a really wonderful experience.
Also because you can find it in the name. Art, eye therapy, care. 3 parts of the same element. And it is a sign because words give the meaning to reality. And so decide to use this title means that the 3 of them, only the 3 of them can be the full.
Yeah. That's a really good point.